Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
A holiday Friday.
Yes, it is, and the weather is going to be perfect.
For 3 days.
I know.
It's unheard
We're
of.
spoiled. It's great.
I don't think we've had a Memorial Day weekend where every day was nice.
Yep. Don't jinx it.
We'll get to the weather in just a minute, but first, Republicans say there is a better way to help with child care. Will Keneally looks into the GOP's opposition to using the state budget and what's feasible for Wisconsin.
A newly released complaint accuses the spokesperson for the Madison School District of bullying, name-calling, and retaliation.
And it's the traditional start of summer travel season. We'll tell you just how many people are gearing up to head out for the holiday. Let's take a look outside. Great day today. Just picture perfect.
Beautiful shot.
And a perfect holiday weekend as well.
Don't fly or drive anywhere. Stay here.
Why go anywhere? Julian's in the backyard with the perfect details.
That's right. Perfect details of what we have in store for not just Madison, but much of the upper Midwest and southern Wisconsin in itself. Blue skies, sunshine is really what we have on tap. Might see a couple of clouds start to just build as we get into the weekend, but overall, it's going to be dominated by blue skies and sunshine as we get into the holiday weekend in itself. Right now, it feels great. 72 degrees for us. We're holding into more milder conditions for the rest of this afternoon, especially compared to yesterday. But overall, even this evening and for tonight, it's not only going to be comfortable, but just rather nice as well. So we're going to fall into the 50s heading into tonight, but still holding on to some clear skies. Current temperature is 72 in Madison, 75 for Janesville, and about 74 for Platteville. Taking a look around Dane County in itself, we are still into the middle to lower 70s, and it's going to be like that for at least the next couple of hours. But as we take a look into our wind speeds, nice and light. The breezier conditions are near Monroe and Janesville, but overall still picture perfect. Tonight temperatures will be into the middle 40s and upper 40s throughout much of southern Wisconsin, but again, not going to be too much of an issue as we head into tonight. A look at our Memorial Day weekend forecast. It's going to be very mild tomorrow and warm for Sunday and Monday, but that's just perfect for what we have in store to have the unofficial start for summer. We'll talk more about Memorial Day weekend and what else you can expect in a few moments. Until then, over to you.
Julian, thank you. Child care has been a major push for Democrats during these budget negotiations.
But it fell flat this week, as political reporter Will Keneally explains from the Capitol. Will?
So, Mark and Susan, as we talk about the state budget here, we see a lot of the debate framed around how to attract and retain workers here in Wisconsin. So as the Joint Finance Committee debated the state's Economic Development Agency's budget, Democrats offered the idea of funding child care as a way to entice workers to the state. Now, Republicans were wary, though, of giving those funds directly to the agency.
But I cannot imagine why it would be a good idea to throw $340 million at an agency who up until the last maybe year, I think it's more like months, has done nothing on this.
It is critical for the state of Wisconsin that we meet the moment and invest in childcare.
Dems wanted to give $170 million per year to the agency, which lists providing incentives to invest in child care as part of the work that they do. But Democrats say that they are not throwing the towel just yet, and we'll hear more coming up tonight at 5. Reporting from the Capitol, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Well, we'll see you at 5. Thank you. Breaking news. Within the last 20 minutes, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said the projected debt ceiling deadline is extended to June 5th, 4 days later than previously estimated.
Willie James Inman has the latest from the White House.
Mr. Speaker, arriving for another day of wrangling over the debt ceiling, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said he's optimistic.
We're going to work as hard as we can to try to get this done.
The Republican speaker says negotiators made progress on a deal with the White House to raise the debt limit and avoid defaulting on America's bills. Sources familiar with the talks tell CBS News the deal would cap overall federal spending levels for the next 2 years. Military and veterans funding would increase slightly, while domestic spending would dip slightly or remain flat.
It's really coming down to one thing. This has been about spending.
The two sides still appear to be at odds over work requirements for Americans receiving government assistance, but Republicans wouldn't comment on specifics.
Everybody wants the detail, but the larger issue here is an agreement that changes the trajectory of our nation's finances.
$25 billion in Social Security checks are set to go out the door next Friday.
The American people deserve to know that the Social Security payments will be there.
President Biden has said default is not an option, while adding there are competing visions for what America's budget will look like. Congress has adjourned for the holiday weekend, but lawmakers could be called back to vote if a deal is reached. Willie James Inman, CBS News, the White House.
A complaint signed by 3 current and former Madison Metropolitan School District employees against District Communications Director Tim Lamons was made public today. The complaint includes a timeline of dozens of incidents where Lamons is accused of bullying fellow coworkers to the point that several cited him as the reason for leaving the district. The records also outline allegations of him bullying the Madison Police Department's public information officer and calling one journalist in Madison, quote, a pig of a journalist. In a message to News 3, Lamons said, quote, all allegations in the complaint were thoroughly investigated and found to be without merit. In addition, I do categorically deny all the allegations as they are referenced in your email. For more details, head to channel3000.com for our web story.
A GoFundMe for a Reedsburg woman who died after injuries from a house fire on Tuesday has reached more than $12,000. Police say 19-year-old Paige Ruddy was unable to escape the second floor of a home that caught fire. Firefighters were able to rescue her, but she died of her injuries Wednesday at a hospital. She was set to be married on the day of the fire. All of the funds collected will go to the Ruddy family to help with medical expenses, funeral costs, and day-to-day living.
The Red Cross is deploying a staff member to Guam on behalf because of Typhoon Mawar. Much of the U.S.'s western Pacific territory of Guam was without power and water yesterday after a typhoon packing ferocious winds and torrential rains battered the island but caused no reported fatalities or major injuries. A Red Cross disaster program manager has been to Florida for Ian, but this is the farthest trip so far.
Responses like this, the idea behind the help we provide is really that care and comfort. The idea to get folks in a place that's safe, warm, a place to put their head, get some, meals in them, have like a quick medical triage. We don't have physicians, but we have health services volunteers.
The eye of the typhoon, one of the most powerful storms in decades to strike the island, tracked just north of Guam early Thursday, moving at a sluggish 8 miles an hour, delivering rainfall of up to 2 inches per hour overnight.
Well, more Americans are leaving town for the Memorial Day weekend. The TSA says yesterday it processed the highest number of air travelers since Thanksgiving of 2019, more than 2.6 million people. It was the busiest air travel day since the pandemic, and today is expected to be even busier. The head of the Transportation Safety Administration says he expects the TSA to screen more than 10 million people this weekend.
Wow, that's a lot. Well, thanks to Memorial Day weekend, there's going to be extended hours at Tenney Lock on Lake Mendota. Tonight, the lock will be closed at 11 o'clock. We'll open back up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. before closing again at 11 p.m. On Sunday, the lock will be open from 10 to 10 and Memorial Day from 10 to 8. Currently, Yahara Lake levels are near summer minimum and within DNR water level orders.
Where you may be used to boating, there may be specific hazards that you may not have been aware of in the past. We have over 200 buoys out on the system marking both safe travel lanes, slow no wake areas, and of course hazards.
The remaining 2 locks at Babcock on Lake Wabisa and La Follette on Lake Kaganza remain closed to navigation due to reduced outflow leaving the Yahara Lakes. Dane County's long-term goal is to minimize flood risk through sediment removal in the Yahara River, but this activity has not contributed to lower lake levels. Drama in the skies overseas as a passenger opens an exit door on a plane in mid-flight. Wild winds tear through the cabin of the South Korean jetliner as passengers hold on for dear life. Authorities say a man sitting next to the emergency door opened it as the plane flew at 700 feet. Just minutes before it was set to touch down, the Asiana Airlines Airbus landed safely and police detained the passenger who admitted to causing the mid-flight scare. Transport officials say some on board tried to stop him from opening the door. His motive yet to be known. The plane carried nearly 200 people. 12 passengers were injured.
Well, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject of planes and doors, a Southwest Airlines pilot found himself locked out of the cockpit recently with no other option to get inside. He crawled through an airplane window. The airline says a customer inadvertently locked the flight deck door while using the restroom. The person who snapped these pictures says he was pretty impressed by the pilot's dedication and that the flight only left 8 minutes late. How about that?
Where's the spare key?
Yeah, right, no keys. A bald eagle that was hit by a vehicle in Kewanee yesterday was saved by police and wildlife rescue workers. A bald eagle rescue group says the eagle didn't have any serious injuries other than a dented beak. As a precaution, the group took the eagle back to their facility for further evaluation, and when it's healthy, the rescue group will release the eagle back to its nesting area.
Well, soccer fans in Madison will have another way to watch Forward Madison FC matches this year for free. Television Wisconsin will air a total of 5 matches this season, which will also be streamed on channel3000.com. The slate of games airing for free without any subscriptions required include tomorrow night versus Union Omaha, next Saturday, June 3rd versus the Central Valley Fuego, and 1 game each in July, August, and October. You can find TW with an over-the-air antenna on channel 3.2 or on Spectrum streaming apps and DirecTV on channel 14. Well, Brat Fest has become a Memorial Day weekend tradition in Madison.
It is here. We'll talk with the son of the man who started it all in 1983. Tim Metcalf joins us from Willow Island. Hi, everybody. There's Miss Wisconsin.
She's
serving up the
brats.
That is a very hard job to volunteer at Brat Fest. We appreciate all their hard work. And we'll head over to Brat Fest when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now. Live at 4.
Welcome back. Celine Dion's world tour will not go on.
The singer canceled her Courage World Tour over health concerns. On social media, Dion says it's not fair to keep postponing the performances. Celine Dion recently announced that she has stiff person syndrome, a rare progressive condition that attacks the nervous system. Dion says she's been having muscle spasms and sometimes has difficulty walking or using her vocal cords the way she normally does. She hopes to resume the tour when her health improves.
Well, new documents released by the FBI show there was a plot to assassinate Britain's Queen Elizabeth II back in the 1980s. A cache of 103 pages were posted to the FBI's online record site, the Vault, on Tuesday. These files cover preparations for several trips the late Queen made to the United States, including an official tour of the West Coast with her husband, Prince Philip, back in 1983. One document appears to detail a tip gathered before that visit from San Francisco police regarding a phone call from a man who claimed to be planning a retribution attack after his daughter was killed in Northern Ireland.
Most Americans say gun control laws should be generally stricter. That's according to a new CNN poll. The poll also finds there is broad support for preventing anyone under the age of 21 from buying any type of gun. The U.S. remains closely divided about how the availability of guns impacts public safety, with sharp differences in views across partisan and demographic lines.
Stocks surged as investors await a debt deal. The Dow Industrials gained 326 points, ending the week at 33,093. The Nasdaq up 277 points. The S&P 500 added 54. And well, as the country inches toward a possible default, many small business owners are preparing for the worst.
Many of them fear what happened to them during the pandemic may happen again. We'll have more on that coming up after Julian's First Warn forecast.
Well, take a look at this. Canine passengers found their sea legs in the annual Pet Day on the Bay Cruise in San Diego Bay as dogs join their humans on pet-friendly boat tours to raise money for the Helen Woodward Animal Center. The annual event held by City Cruises promised a beach potty bonanza theme with many passengers arriving in Hawaiian-inspired outfits, bandanas, sunglasses, and the occasional sailor's cap. Their two-legged traveling companions were encouraged to donate to the center. Adoptable pups were portside to see guests off from the dock.
What a great idea. We have to get some sunglasses for the new
I think so, too.
They're adorbs.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Well, this is the weekend to honor a veteran and celebrate the start of summer and down some brats.
That's for sure. The world's largest Brat Fest kicked off this morning. It runs through Sunday at Willow Island at the Alliant Energy Center.
The Memorial Day weekend tradition raises money to benefit over 100 local charities. The world's largest Brat Fest is sponsored by Metcalf's, and Tim Metcalf joins us live now from Willow Island. Hi, Tim. How are you doing?
Hi, Tim.
Great, guys. How you doing?
Pretty good. When your dad started this back in 1983 with a Weber grill and a picnic table, did you ever think it would grow into this?
No, I don't think my dad ever realized that what he started would become what it is today. You know, it started with a Weber grill, a table and 3 chairs. 41 years later, we'll probably have 125,000 people go through Willow Island. And we're raising money. We're going to probably raise $100,000 this year. We've raised $2.4 million since it started in '83. So I don't think my dad ever imagined that, but it's really, you know, just become a mark of the beginning of summer, and it does so many great things for the community. We just love to put it on.
You can't see it, Tim, but we're seeing pictures of your dad back from the old days. Right outside the grocery store.
I used to go there, 50 cents a brat.
Yeah, and it's such an incredible community success story. Just to see all the people every year that show up to volunteer and help sell the brats. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I'll tell you what's kind of special for me, too, is watching the young people. You know, we have, you know, parents with their kids here and they're wrapping brats, and we're just teaching our youth about, you know, what does it mean to be part of a community and do community. And that's what I think Brat Fest does so well, is it just kind of brings us all together and do community to get together.
Mm-hmm.
It's also turned into something of a music festival as well.
Yeah. So we have Frankie Ballard tonight, Madison County's tonight, and about 75 different live acts throughout the weekend. So come down with your family, you know, get a brat, you know, enjoy the music. We have a lot of family fun things to do. We have a kids zone. We have a petting zoo. We have the Clydesdales here this weekend. So just a lot of fun things to do to come down at Brat Fest 2023.
You have the regular brats, and then you also have the veggie brats, right?
Yeah, we have the Impossible
brats, right? Those are actually really good.
They are good.
What's the brat count so far?
Well, I haven't checked in the last half hour. Last time I checked, it was like 37,000, which is pretty. I mean, just imagine 37,000 brats. I don't think my dad would ever realize that. But so, you know, our world record is 209. I'm not sure if we're going to get there, but the weather forecast is so phenomenal. I don't think we've ever had, you know, a weekend with no rain at all. So, you know, anything is possible.
Yeah, 3 days in a row. That's pretty much unheard of for Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, congratulations again, and keep up the good work. We all appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks to you, Tim, for all you do. Have fun this weekend. We'll see you out there.
Yeah, stop down. We'd love to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. And speaking of weather, we got the guy here to tell us all about 3 days in a row. I don't know if it's ever, well, I'm sure it's happened at some point.
Well, exactly. And that's the whole point. It's 3 days in a row for Memorial Day weekend, and it's not too hot either. It's just perfect for this fake opening for summer for us. But we're going to talk about not just this 3 days, because afterwards we're still looking at a stretch of some dry weather and some sunshine. We'll tell you all you'll need to know with the First One forecast coming up after the break. With such a beautiful forecast in store for us, we got to bring something out that we haven't had in quite a while, and that is going to be our boating forecast for us here in Madison. Starting off, heading into our Saturday, we're looking at temperatures to be very mild, but it's going to be perfect to head out into the water. We're looking at mostly sunny skies, going to be around 77 degrees. And as we slide into Sunday, a bit warmer. We're going to see the lower 80s. Some clouds might pop up, but overall still going to be mostly sunny for us. Now, as we take a look at what we're seeing outside us right now, pretty blue. blue. And that's right, temperatures are still into the lower 70s. So it's feeling great outside, definitely perfect for those who are attending Brat Fest or even out onto the terrace or just doing anything that's outside. As we head into the rest of this afternoon, evening hours, we're staying very comfortable for us. May warm up just a bit around 6 p.m. to the middle 70s, but overall things are going to be quiet and just flat out perfect to close out our Friday. Wind speeds, not much of an issue for Madison. However, for Monroe, Janesville, and around Platteville, we are looking for those double-digit wind speeds coming off of the easterly side, which is still bringing in cooler yet milder conditions throughout southern Wisconsin. And so thanks to this high pressure system is what we can really thank for the dry weather we're going to be having over the next several days. We call it some blocking. So the systems that are over towards the west are not going to be able to make their way into the upper Midwest because of how potent this high pressure system is just over the Great Lakes. So we're not going to be seeing much in terms of precipitation at all for this weekend and much of next week. But for tonight's temperatures will fall into the middle 40s. Also still mostly clear. So it's not going to be as chilly as it was last night. But heading into tomorrow, we're still going to be onto that trend of warming things up as we continue throughout the rest of the afternoon and for our weekend. Upper 70s expected for Madison, Janesville, and for Platteville. Some areas could be into the middle 70s, but nevertheless, another very mild day. Taking a look at our future track, it's just pretty much going to bolster my entire forecast of it just being picture perfect. Might see some high-level clouds, but overall, it's going to be rather clear, comfortable, and on top of it, quiet. Heading into Saturday, once we get into the afternoon, the middle to upper 70s is what we're going to be expecting. So if you have any travel plans as well, the good news is we're not looking for any issues from the weather for any kind of travel that you have to be taking. Take a look at our Memorial Day from Saturday to Sunday, and of course heading into Memorial Day in itself on Mondays, where we're going to be trending a bit warmer into those lower 80s. We're talking about 83 degrees, but nevertheless things are staying rather quiet and also warm. Three things we'll need to know: we are going to be jumping from just dry and warm to very warm and potentially hot by the time we get into next week. A quick look at our first warm 10-day forecast. Once we roll into Wednesday, we're jumping from the 80s into the lower 90s, and that's going to carry into our Thursday. We have an opportunity for us to see some form of wet weather finally heading into our Thursday afternoon or evening hours and going into our Friday. Though the opportunity is still rather low, it's the one thing that we can talk about that's not just sunshine and warm weather.
Well, June 1st is Thursday.
Yep, and so we're welcoming June rather hot at this point.
But a great holiday weekend.
Absolutely.
Enjoy it. Thank you, Julian.
Yep.
Well, the Friday before Memorial Day is designated Don't Friday.
The National Council on Skin Cancer Prevention designates this day the unofficial start of summer to raising awareness about sun safety. According to the American Cancer Society, most skin cancers are caused by too much exposure to UV rays from the sun. They recommend sunscreens with an SPF of at least 30. Mineral sunscreens sit on top of the skin and reflect the harmful rays off the skin. They contain ingredients like zinc oxide or titanium dioxide.
If you have more sensitive skin, those are known to be less irritating. Chemical sunscreens are equally safe. Chemical sunscreens are sunscreens that have chemical filters that are actually absorbed into your skin. For these to be effective, you do want to apply them about 15 to 20 minutes before going outside.
Dermatologists say the best sunscreen is the one that you will use, so that could be cream, lotion, or spray. Skin cancer is the most common cancer in the country. Most cases of melanoma, the deadliest kind of skin cancer, are caused by exposure to ultraviolet light. Small business owners are closely watching the debt ceiling debate that's taking place in Washington, D.C.
Some of the businesses took a near fatal hit during the pandemic, and now they worry about what it may mean for their future if politicians can't reach a deal.
Kyung La reports.
Keep your feet where they are. Bend the knees. Pull the carriage in.
Inside the opening of this brand new Brooklyn, New York Pilates studio.
You got it. 20 seconds left.
Is the story of America's small business revival.
In 3, 2, 1.
In the last 2 years, the U.S. has seen an unprecedented surge of new business openings, a nearly 30% increase in new businesses as compared to before the pandemic.
Excellent. 1 minute.
Part of a nationwide post-pandemic boom for mom and pop shops, and the nearly half of all private workers they employ.
Let's take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale.
The This is something Jen Yates and Alex Hartunian once thought would never happen.
Obviously, we have been through a lot. The past 3 years has been a lot.
This was their Los Angeles street in 2020, the start of the pandemic. COVID shut down the country overnight, cratering small businesses.
I was sitting on the floor, just sobbing.
How are we going to survive with, we're going to wake up the next morning and have zero income.
That wouldn't change for a year.
What are we doing with this thing?
$300,000 in debt. They started selling off equipment.
Separate your legs, don't leave the floor.
Pivoting to virtual classes. Struggling to stay open, they moved exercise machines outside.
18 machines, yeah. 350 pounds each.
Every single morning and night, while they wondered if they'd ever climb out of a financial abyss.
The whole prospect of having a business in this climate seems impossible.
But there was a lifeline.
We're desperate for this relief from the government.
They filed for and got PPP and SBA loans, which kept them open.
Keep that left leg bent and drive it up. You're doing awesome.
And as the lockdown lifted and Americans returned to restaurants and the gym,
How you doing?
they reopened in Los Angeles.
You got it. Keep going. Keep pressing. In 3, 2, 1.
And broke ground this spring with a new studio in Brooklyn.
We were still unsure. We didn't know that small businesses, there was ever going to be a boom again. Sometimes you just got to go for it. You got to take the risk and just go for it.
With headwinds from inflation, lack of workers, and fears of the debt ceiling impasse, economists say it may be months before we'll know if the small business surge sustains or if this year becomes another struggle for Main Street.
You just got to figure it out and hustle. I mean, that's what a small business is, and it's a lot of hustling.
You made it. Nice job, you guys.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah, fingers crossed that we get this debt ceiling passed soon. Well, coming up next here on Live, before we take a sneak peek at the newest live action CGI edition of Little Mermaid.
And then coming up next hour at 5, with only a week until the State Street Starbucks employees vote on unionization, some baristas claim the company is union busting. Our Braden Ross will tell us more at 5.
That doesn't look good. This is looking at the West Bell line from the interstate. That's the interstate going north.
Everybody's heading north for the holiday weekend. We wish we were with them.
Well, I'm not sure I want to be in that traffic.
Oh, no, but it's going to be a great weekend.
Well, The Little Mermaid swam back into theaters today in a new and expanded version of the beloved film.
Rick Damigella has the story.
You broke the rules. You went to the above world.
A man was drowning. I had to save him.
This obsession with humans has to stop.
I just want to know more about them.
The live-action and CGI reimagining of The Little Mermaid stars Halle Bailey as Ariel, a role she earned on the strength of her voice.
I want to be where the people are. I want to see them dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them? Oh, feet.
Well, I mean, the first time we... Tears, this one. I mean, when she came in and sang for us and auditioned for us, I mean, she shut her eyes and started to sing Part of Your World. And I was so moved. I found myself, yes, John, in tears at the end of the audition. And I thought, oh my gosh, is this Ariel?
Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing.
She had this beautifully simple approach to singing the song, which was just captivating to us. It was her presence as well as this magnificent voice that just charmed us.
Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
That voice is incredible.
It really is.
Incredible.
And there are several new songs written for the movie, but part of the Your World is the centerpiece of the film. We come back and look at the true meaning of Memorial Day and a special program dedicated to it.
It is the National Memorial Day Concert. This year, it's dedicated to Gold Star families. We'll have a preview, and we'll talk with the sister of a fallen soldier when Live at 4 continues.
Well, as many are hitting the roads on the roadways as of right now, as we're getting into our Memorial Day weekend, let's take a look around the Beltline in itself. As of right now, we are looking at westbound to be on the slower side, especially as we get closer towards about the Mendota area. But as we take a look over towards the eastern side, well, things themselves are starting to really slow down, especially if you were northbound on I-39. So we expect a bit of some delays, but as of right now, we're not looking at any reports of any kind of crashes. Otherwise, things are rather smooth around the Beltline and for us here in southern Wisconsin. That's going to do it for traffic. Let's go ahead and send it over to you.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free.
For more than 30 years, it's been a National Memorial Day weekend tradition.
The National Memorial Day Concert serves as a night of remembrance, honoring the servicemen and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country.
The concert returns this Sunday night on PBS Wisconsin and will be dedicated this year to honoring Gold Star families. Host Joe Montaigne and Gold Star family member Monica McGee Duncan join us now with a preview. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Joel, let's start with you. What can viewers expect to see Sunday night?
Well, once again, it's just going to be a cross-section of talent, of musical talent, of acting talent. It's a 90-minute program that I think is the best possible way, if you've never seen it, to understand what Memorial Day is, why we celebrate it in this country, why it's, in my mind, the most important holiday we celebrate in this country. And I really encourage everyone to just slice out 90 minutes of your Memorial Day weekend. And believe me, I think you'll come away being glad that you did that.
Monica, you are a Gold Star family member, which is a very difficult designation, but as Joe was just saying, reminds us what this weekend is really about. You lost your brother, Sergeant Anthony McGee, in combat. He was killed in action while serving in Iraq. Tell us a little bit about your brother.
A little bit that I can tell you about my brother, he was that person that everybody wanted to be around. He was that loving, caring, funny person that just lit up a room when he walked in it. He was that person that if he had $1, he would give you 99 cents of that dollar, and he would keep the penny for himself, and he was just caring. He had a big heart. So his biggest thing that I feel like that he was put on earth to do is to give. From the day that he was born to the day that he passed, he gave.
What was it like when you first got the news that he was killed in combat?
It was very hard the day that I got the news that he was killed in combat, because it was also the day that my husband came back from Afghanistan. So I was happy, and then I was also sad, but it really broke my heart because Anthony was the glue that held the family together. He was just a big family person, and after losing him, it was hard, but we gained our momentum back and we became even stronger as a family. So we make sure that we spend a lot more time together and share more memories of him and together.
Monica, what does it mean to you to be able to share your family story in this way? And what are you hoping that people who watch the concert this weekend will take away from it?
It means a lot to me because I feel like it's an honor to even be able to share his story. And one of the things that I would like for others to take away from this concert is spend time with your family, because you never know when the last day that you'll be with your family member. And even when you're together, share memories from the past that y'all haven't shared in a moment maybe. And just as much as you can, togetherness is a big key.
Joe, this is your 22nd year back. It must be quite an honor to do this every year. Quite an honor.
Yeah, it's for me. It is really the most important thing that I do every year. I've been very blessed. I've had a very blessed life, and I think this is the time of year, and certainly the moment in that year that it helps me reflect on how lucky I am, how lucky we all are to live in this country. And we do it standing on the shoulders of those men and women throughout our history who've made that ultimate sacrifice that allow us to live in a country as great as this is.
Well, very well said.
Yes.
Well, thank you both for being with us today. And as you said, Joe, take 90 minutes out of your holiday weekend to remember what this holiday is really all about.
Monica, we extend to your family all of our love and condolences, and thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Great to see both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with the final check of your forecast.
And another reminder of a Memorial Day weekend forecast. It's just going to be perfect, but just how perfect? Well, starting off for Saturday into the upper 70s, still going to be mostly sunny, very mild, but then we turn to warm heading into Sunday and Monday, which is going to be perfect for those who are going to be heading out into the water, splash pad, pool, wherever. Being outdoors is going to be wonderful for this weekend. We're not expecting any kind of rainfall. But when could we see any kind of rain? Well, 3 things we'll need to know outside of seeing 70s to start for this weekend. We are looking for a dry period through at least Wednesday of next week. Then we could potentially start to see some of those showers or storms rolling in by the time we get into our Wednesday night or Thursday night, excuse me, and heading into our Friday. Otherwise, temperatures are going to be hot to start off for our first couple of days into June. Over to you.
All right, looking good. Tuesday on Live at 4, we are off on Monday. UW Health Dr. Jeff Potoff joins us with all the latest medical news.
And walking has powerful health benefits. Consumer Reports shows us the best way to track your daily steps. Coming up Tuesday on Live at 4. Well, it is the beginning of the long Memorial Day weekend, a time to remember and to relax a little bit.
That's Louie and Oliver's plans, but before they go, the News Hounds wrap up the week with the top animal stories of the week.
Here's the News Hounds, Louie and Oliver, with their World News Roundup.
This week on the News Hounds, hello, neighbor.
It's lunchtime.
And one hump or two.
But first, a remarkable story of survival. These 2 foals are from an endangered breed of horse that went extinct in the wild. The Przewalski horse shares a common ancestry with modern horses, but the 2 lines split around 160,000 years ago. The breed was classified as extinct in the wild until horses bred at the Whipsnade Zoo in the UK were successfully reintroduced to Mongolia as part of a collaborative conservation project. These 2 foals, the male born in April, the female born in May, share 600 acres of conservation meadows at the zoo just north of London. They're still finding their feet and sticking close to their moms. 2 more horses from a breed brought back from extinction.
Speaking of new additions, it's a girl. The Milwaukee County Zoo welcomed this newborn Bactrian camel calf. The one is healthy, weighed about 88 pounds at her first exam. She's bonding well with her mother, AJ, and getting to know her father, Stan, through a mesh fence. The 2 adults have 3 male offspring, but this is their first girl. She's now on display at the Milwaukee Zoo, so Louie and Oliver are thinking, road trip.
How about a little lunch? Island, Holy, and Gizmo are ring-tailed lemurs who call the Oregon Zoo in Portland home. The trio were recently caught on camera snacking on some fresh camellia blossoms at the zoo. The flowers are grown on the zoo grounds, so they're as fresh as can be. Talk about flower power.
And finally, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Time to check out the new neighbors. Zookeepers at the Sacramento Zoo recently moved their desert tortoises to a new enclosure right next to the zoo's 5 meerkats. Herkimer the tortoise is 95 years old and wasted no time checking out his new neighbors, and vice versa. Herkimer and his tortoise friend Anasazi will enjoy alternating time in the renovated habitat next to the meerkats. We're not sure what's going through the tortoise's mind, but we'd like to think it'd be something like, "Hey, you cats, get out of my yard."
And that's this week's edition of the News Hounds Now Update.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here on Tuesday. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.